Instead of going to school or playing with their friends, these Congolese children are mining cobalt with their bare hands. They're in one of the only spots on Earth cobalt can be found, a key ingredient in the global transition to green energy, powering the new generation of electric cars. In South Africa, this electric vehicle market is still small, with only 92 new electric cars sold in 2020. Good morning, Daniel.
Hello.
Claire, a lot of people think it's quite complicated. How do you charge an electric vehicle?
They're very simple, actually. It's exactly like plugging in a kettle.
Daniel 𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗆 is part of a small community of Johannesburg electric vehicle owners who recharge using their home solar power systems.
What's been happening with solar in the last 5 years is that the price of panels has been coming down at an almost exponential rate. So it's becoming more and more affordable, and we are going to reach a point where this becomes a more affordable option rather than the less affordable option.
The consensus is that renewable energy is the way to go, to lower harmful carbon dioxide emissions, to halt changing weather patterns and extreme weather events worldwide. When the national electric grid becomes solar-powered, like Daniel set up here, rather than coal-powered, then electric vehicles' carbon footprint will drop dramatically. But for now, an electric vehicle's carbon footprint depends on whether it's charged using renewable energy, like solar, or a carbon dioxide-emitting coal power source, and by the mining that takes place for its components. In Covas do Barroso, in the north of Portugal, residents are protesting plans for a new lithium mine. Lithium is a key component in electric car batteries. I watched our producer's earlier interview with Aida Fernandez, a cattle farmer near one of the proposed sites.
We feel sad, concerned, and angry because no one asked us if we want this project. They want to make a big mine near the village, destroy the river, use all the water, and destroy all the mountains. If this happens, it's the end of the local people, the community, the fields, the commune land.
The multinational Savannah Resources is behind these plans.
From the project, there will be something of the order of 20 million euros at least of taxes. So you're sort of talking, something of the order of 250 million euros over the life of the project. In terms of jobs, we'll be looking at employing around about 215 people. We'll have zero negative impact on agriculture.
Aida Fernandez is not reassured by the company's promises.
As compensações que a empresa fala, os benefícios, para nós que vivemos cá, não vai haver benefícios. Pelo contrário, nós só vamos ter perdas. Vamos perder os nossos terrenos, porque é uma área muito grande que eles pretendem utilizar. A maioria das pessoas vivem da agricultura e ao perderem os terrenos vão ter que deixar de fazer o que sempre fizeram.
The Portuguese lithium mines are among many planned across Europe. Lithium demand is expected to grow by 42 times over the next 2 decades. Copper, nickel, and cobalt are other key minerals in the car production process that have also become highly sought after. Children in the Democratic Republic of Congo mine for cobalt that powers up your mobile phones, computers, and electric cars.
The Belgians colonized Congo.
Mark Dammit from Amnesty International has visited the DRC's artisanal cobalt mines repeatedly. Our producer interviewed him earlier.
Because this artisanal mining is unregulated, no one's got a very strong idea of exactly how many people are involved, let alone how many children. But it's estimated to be in the tens of thousands in that one region. And of course, it's driven by poverty. It's driven by the need to eat that day. No one in their right mind would want a child as young as 7 to be, in these mines. They're exposed to all kinds of risks. But at the same time, we've got to recognize it is a lifeline for them. It's how their families survive. It's how they survive. So it's a really complicated issue and no easy solutions.
South Africa's fortunes were built on minerals, so it's no secret that there is a price to pay. We in Johannesburg know what the lasting legacy of gold mining is: acid mine drainage and health issues for the communities living near these mine dumps. 𝗀𝗏𝗃 is a geologist by training and an energy analyst who advises Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Patricia de Lille. Hello, hello. By 2030, the South African government wants to have wind and solar power accounting for 33% of the overall energy mix. For Clyde, that's wholly inadequate. He says critiques of the renewable energy transition are just a distraction, the last gasp attack of the fossil fuel industry. Some say that electric vehicles are not really clean technology if they require 6 times the amount of mineral inputs as a conventional car. What do you think about that statement?
Well, first of all, it's completely wrong because, I mean, cars, the most mineral inputs are the steel of the actual car. And an electric car has the same amount of steel and aluminium as a non-electric car. And the battery does have quite a lot of mineral input into it that a conventional car doesn't have, but it's not excessive. If you think of the coal mining and oil and gas mining and the impact that had, you only have to look at places like the Niger Delta or the Gulf of Mexico to understand the quantity of coal mine is orders of magnitudes greater than the mining that will need to take place for lithium and nickel and other battery elements. So it's a red herring.
What about the overall carbon footprint of an electric vehicle? Mining, transport of raw materials, factories where the batteries are made, and of course, the power source to recharge. In a comparison between the life cycle carbon footprint of electric vehicles and traditional internal combustion engine vehicles, the US government's Argonne National Laboratory came up with some interesting results. A Reuters analysis of the Argonne model shows that in coal-powered countries like South Africa, you need to travel 126,000 kilometers in an electric car before becoming the greener vehicle than a conventional car. But Clyde doesn't buy these life cycle comparison models.
They misrepresent how much CO2 actually goes into the battery in the first place. They misrepresent how often the battery has to be replaced. They assume that the CO2 from the grid will stay as bad as it is at the moment.
For Aida Fernandez and her community in northern Portugal, exactly how green electric vehicles are is besides the point. They resist new mining in the name of the green revolution. And the child cobalt miners of the DRC should be getting an education, not working in danger.
Amnesty International has been campaigning with other NGOs, civil society groups in Congo and around the world to pressure those companies at the end of the supply chains, such as Apple and Tesla and Renault and Peugeot and Microsoft and Samsung and companies which use the batteries, to use their leverage over these other players in the supply chain, the middlemen and these companies that buy the minerals, to try and clean up their supply chain, source from responsible miners, and then become part of the solution.
Mining components in electric cars will pose environmental problems until batteries with fewer or no minerals go mainstream. In the meantime, recycling is taking off, which means the precious raw materials like lithium and cobalt inside the electric car battery can be reused. Daniel Limpetlaw's i3 that I borrowed is powered by the sun, and that alone reduces his car's carbon footprint dramatically.
That's the unfortunate thing in South Africa in particular at the moment. We're one of the most coal-intensive countries in the world. And the whole point about moving to electric cars is we need to do it in parallel with the migration to green electricity. As we migrate to renewable, which is going to happen in about the next decade, the uptake of renewable energy in the country will match the uptake of electric vehicles.
What people will realize is that these vehicles are so much more efficient, they're so much cheaper to run, and when the capital cost of the vehicle comes down, when all those huge import duties and tariffs that are currently levied on them are removed, these are going to be the more affordable way to travel.
Recycling might lessen the mining impact on the environment, but what is for sure is that an electric car plugged into a renewable energy source is a positive step in the fight against climate change.